Professor X is coming to the game, and I didn't think they were going to do this, but it's going to be a year-long event similar to that of Apocalypse. And a couple things when I heard about this that kind of struck me as odd is I kind of was under the feeling that there were some things that they really liked about Apocalypse and some things they didn't like about the Apocalypse release method. And so I actually was under the impression that they weren't going to do another one, but I guess things changed and they are going to do another one. And this is going to be a year-long event that starts in the beginning of April, and Professor X should be released sometime in early 2025. Now, they have said some things in a conference call, and I've got some notes here that we can go over that address some of the issues that I personally saw with the Age of Apocalypse event. You know, mainly that it was overly complicated, and returning players and new players or people that were not doing it as it was happening had a hard time catching up. So hopefully that'll be addressed. Now, we're just going to go over the images that we have provided here, and then I've got some notes that we'll go over and try to flesh out any of the details and try to see if we can figure out what's going on. The first thing that I've heard is that in the first week of April, there's going to be an event under the Age of X, and the whole thing is going to be called Age of X. And there's going to be a mini event campaign with rewards that are going to be tuned for new and returning players. There's not supposed to be any requirements, and it sets up the story leading directly into the next series of events. I guess they're going to be called showcased events, and the year-long story to come. And the story for the Age of X is going to focus at first on answering the question, where has the most powerful telepath on Earth been? And so I'm not sure how this is going to be revealed to us, but you can see that there's 4 quadrants in this image, and 3 of them are grayed out, and only the top one is revealed. To me, that's some sort of image from the Southwest, you know, possibly Utah or the Grand Canyon somewhere. And I don't know if this is him and this is where he's hiding, or if this is a character involved in the process of unlocking him. And there's no details whatsoever on the unlock process, other than there's going to be events starting the first part of April, and the first release date is early 2025. And if this is going to be like Apocalypse, that means I'm not going to get him to summer of 2025. And my goodness, DD7 just launched today, or is launching today. At the time of the recording, this video is launching today. And, you know, I'm not going to get Mephisto for like 6 months. So this might even be 18 months for me. Now, this looks like it's tied to the comic series House of X, Powers of X. And this is, you know, the standing Cerebro. Cerebro's on his head. This is the standing Professor X. There's a lot of versions of this. I know that this is also the same style that they used in other games, like Marvel Contest of Champions is using the Powers of X or the House of X. And my understanding is this is currently running in a series, and this series should be wrapping up. They said and suggested to me that there were some technical constraints from like a wheelchair Professor X, which I think a lot of people wanted. And they gave a good explanation for that. I don't know if I'll go into the explanation here in this video, but it has to do with hit scan boxes on receiving punches, and basically it's a fighting game, and they, you know, creating a new rig or new skeleton. I don't know. But on the other thing too is I don't think they want someone in a wheelchair, whatever, in a fighting game. They do have some other concept art, and when they started this process, my understanding is that they went through 5 different variations, and then eventually opted for variation 1. Maybe these could be costumes in the future, but this is just concept art. From there, they went to the palette, and looks like it says black on black with some blue stripes. It's interesting enough. And then this is the 3D modeling, which is then, applied to a skeleton rig and then animated. And we'll have to see how that plays out. So I just want to say this. I did very much like unlocking Apocalypse and the process of getting Apocalypse. There were some pitfalls to that, and I'm going to read some comments, and I don't know if these comments are set in stone or subject to change, but it does show their thoughts on how they want to address some of the concerns that even myself had. It's going to be a year-long story, Marvel Strike Force, until the release of our next major chase character, and it'll connect all the events until the release of Professor X. So a lot of the stories are going to be about Professor X. He's going to be top tier. He's going to be, I'm going to guess, best character in the game. Supposed to have an X-Men tag. He's going to be plug and play, opportunity to theorycraft. The first people are going to be getting it in 2025. And then legendaries and other teams will be connected to the overall story of Age of X, but they aren't designed to be a combined team. I guess the idea there is that Apocalypse had 4 horsemen, and then the 4 horsemen could play with Apocalypse, but it's not going to be like that. Aren't designed to be a combined into an Apex team. Then this is the part that I thought was interesting. We're incorporating the learnings from Age of Apocalypse that include supporting player agency. I think one of the problems that I personally experienced on the year-long APOC is, well, one, there's some things I didn't like about it. Like I had to upgrade some characters I didn't really want to upgrade, like Scarlet Witch and Phantom X. And I don't know if they're going to address that or not, but it also felt like everybody had the same teams and we were all kind of funneled into one single path, and everybody had no choice what to upgrade. You have to upgrade these 23 characters, and you have to get those characters by building these teams and so on. And it was super complicated, which was somewhat fine as I was going through it. But explaining to somebody that was coming back and as a returning player, I felt like it was overwhelming and a bit unnecessarily complicated. Age of X, a framework to connect all of our great events together narratively. This is the part that I hope is true, and I hope this is not the part of this document that I'm looking at here that is subject to change. It says new and returning players should be able to hop into the game, play the events they love, and enjoy the Age of X story without having to play catch up. Okay. I mean, that kind of satisfies the main objection I had to the Apocalypse event, is that it was hard to catch up, and like if you missed the Morgan Le Fay event, then you were behind, and it was hard to go back, and so on and so on, and it felt like overwhelming. And so hopefully that is not the case. They're not giving any details for the unlock requirements or any of that, so we're gonna have to see how this plays out. I wish that there was more information. It feels like it's pretty close to Dark Dimension 7 and Mephisto, and I feel like there may be some players out there right now that, you know, look at Mephisto and say, well, I'm not going to even get Mephisto for a year. How long before I get this? This is something that's 2 years out. I feel like that's going to be something that I'm going to see a lot in the comment section about this just being super, super far away and, unobtainable. But we'll have to see how this plays out. I do like that they're addressing agency concerns and the ability to catch up, because overall, getting Apocalypse the first time around, it felt like a chase. It felt valuable and it felt important when I got them. But for me, I think that I personally prefer the Dark Dimension format. I like the planning for Dark Dimension, I'm waiting for them to release the Dark Dimension 7 planner, and then I can do some research and make some guides on that. Anyways, what is your thoughts about Professor X? Did you like the way that Apocalypse was released as opposed to Super Scroll? Let me know in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now.